Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if this happens, the Premier League is in trouble. I repeat, if this happens, the Premier League is in trouble. I call this the summer of intentions. Premier League clubs are going out there trying to sign people to send messages to their rivals. City sending messages to everyone. Arsenal sending messages to everyone. Chelsea sending messages to everyone. And now Liverpool, having already sent messages to everyone by signing the likes of Frimpong, Kerkez, Florian Wirtz. They're trying to make another statement. And they're trying to send another message. Wow. Liverpool are trying to sign Alexander Isak. Now, at this stage, nothing's concrete. I don't believe there's any advanced talks or anything because Newcastle's stance on Alexander Isak is very much clear. They want to keep him. He's got 3 years left on his deal. They qualified for Champions League. He's their star man. He's their best player. Why would they get rid of him? So their stance at the moment is they don't want to sell him. Now, Alexander Isak, for me, has been one of the best strikers in the Premier League. And it's very funny to know that, he's had injuries here and there, but he still managed to get 20 goals in the Premier League back-to-back seasons. Yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive. And just talking about his game overall, I like Isak. Technically, he's someone that keeps defenders busy. I went to watch United against Newcastle at Old Trafford, and I was just very impressed. Very, very impressed with Isak because he's not your typical number 9 who's just going to stay in the box and wait for crosses to come in or to get fed so that he can score and finish. His finishing's very good, by the way. The first goal that comes into my mind is the one that he smashed top bins against Liverpool. Yeah, that was crazy. But it's just how he occupies defenders, man. He knows that there's no point going into contact with this one or this one. I'd rather just drift to the left, drift to the right, keep defenders busy, stretch the pitch, stretch the defense, and bring in other people with me. Very intelligent as well. And he's someone who's built a reputation, playing in Europe. Obviously didn't go that well at Dortmund. And even back then already, you could kind of tell, this guy, he's going to be somebody. Then he went to Real Sociedad, and that's when really he started to make a name for himself. And with Sweden as well, been playing really well. So obviously the interest is warranted. I understand why Liverpool would try and go in and put in a package together for someone like Alexander Isak. However, like I said, I think Newcastle holds all the cards here. I think Newcastle have the power to say yes or no. And at the moment, it's looking like they would rather keep him. Why would you want to get rid of your star man? Like I said, with Champions League football, with the likes of Elanga being added to the squad. Now you've got 3 Swedish players there. You know that connection is going to happen organically. You're going to be in the Champions League, which means with the addition of Elanga, you could go or try at least push to go deep into the tournament. Who knows? In the Premier League, you've got more of a chance now to try and finish in the top 4 to qualify for Champions League again next season. So really and truly, Newcastle hold all the cards here. Now, in terms of Liverpool, it's going to be a bit more difficult, I think, because obviously Newcastle have active interest in Ekatike. And by the way, their bid of round about 70 plus million euros has been rejected by Frankfurt. So I don't really understand, because a lot of people and Liverpool fans have been saying this, but I don't really understand the logic behind it, because Liverpool fans are essentially saying, well, we believe that the club are telling Newcastle, we want Isak, and if you don't give us Isak, we're going to go to Frankfurt and get your target in Ekatike. And I don't really understand why they're saying this, because obviously Frankfurt must be looking at all of this and going, well, okay, cool, no problem. Because if Liverpool get rejected by Newcastle and say, Isak's not for sale, he's staying, and then they try and go get Ekatike, Frankfurt could go, hold on a minute, you're trying to put together a package of round about 120 hold on a minute, you're trying to put together a package of round about 120 million to try and get Isak. And now you want to come to us and buy Ekatike. 70 million, 80 million. In fact, pay up 100, please. That's what Frankfurt could do. They could do that. Now, in terms of Newcastle as well, why it doesn't make sense to me to get rid, or not get rid, but to sell Isak and replace him with Ekatike, it's not a guarantee that Ekatike is going to come in and have the same amount of impact as Isak does. Like I said, Isak, 20 Premier League goals back-to-back seasons, that can't be replaced easily. And I'm not saying Ekatike is a bad player. I think there's potential there. And in fact, in terms of their styles and their mold and the way they're built physically, very languid and lanky, and I don't want to say skinny, but you get my point. Very similar. But again, you can't guarantee that he's going to have the same impact as Isak did. So there's that. And on top of that, there's the World Cup next year. If anything, I would advise both players at this point, Isak and Ekatike, to stay at their respective clubs, because I've always said it's a risk moving to a new club right before the World Cup, depending on which nation you play for. Sweden, to be fair, if Isak was to move, it wouldn't really hurt his position, because I still think he would, if Sweden qualify for the World Cup, he'd go with them and he'd probably start. Ekatike, it's a whole different story, my friend. With France, you want to move to a new club ahead of the World Cup 2026 when you've got chances to be selected with the way you're playing at Frankfurt, which is really well. At this stage, I'd probably advise both players to stay because, like I said, World Cup year, you want to be at the top, at the peak of your powers. You want to be regarded as the top strikers or one of the top strikers in Europe. So if it was me, I would advise both players to stay. In Isak's case, like I said, a 3-year deal still going on. 3 years still on his contract. I don't know if Newcastle are going to let him go. I'll be honest. And the whole irony in this is that Jurgen Klopp must be the one looking at all of this and laughing, because he's probably going, damn, when I was there, they weren't spending that money. But then again, he was the one in the press conference, that famous press conference saying that other teams can do stuff that we can't. And now, lo and behold, Liverpool have spent bags of money. And the fact that they're able or wanting to put together a package of 120 million for Isak is crazy. Like, I don't want to say where's this money coming from, but, you do look at Liverpool and you go, oh, you got money like that? Okay. So it is a bit funny. Just a little thought for Klopp there. But Liverpool will probably have to try and make some sales first to be able to fund that package or put together that package of 120 mil, And up until last night, I was expecting Darwin Núñez to leave. But obviously, the info got put out there that the deal with Napoli is off because Napoli have bought in a striker from Udinese. So that's off the table. Now, how or when is Liverpool going to be able to sell the likes of Darwin Núñez? We don't know. So it's a bit of a tricky one for Liverpool. I think they do need to make some sales first before they try and get in or try and go in for Isak. But again, I think with 3 years left on his deal, I just think it's extremely, extremely difficult for Newcastle to... I think it would take 150 mil for Newcastle to not even say yes, but to go, let's negotiate. I think it would take way more than that for Newcastle to actually say yes. And it sounds ridiculous, but I believe it would take up to 160, 70 to get him away from Newcastle this window. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And, again, on a personal level, Isak can probably think, oh, Liverpool are interested. But like I said, World Cup year, Champions League. Obviously, he would be playing that with Liverpool as well. But it would take some acclimatizing, not to the league, but with new teammates, if you get what I mean. But then again, I know what you're going to say, Aaron, but what about Florian Wirtz? Well, Florian Wirtz, again, he's someone, Germany, in my opinion, are going to qualify for the World Cup. He's someone that's starting regardless. Even if this season he has a bad season, he's going to get picked by Nagelsmann. He's going to get picked. With Ekatike, it's a bit different because I don't know if he's going to get picked at all. I don't know if Deschamps is even looking at him. But anyway, that's a story for a different day. But bold move, man. Very, very bold move from Liverpool. And I respect the intent. I respect the intent to try and put together a package and go out there and sign the best of the best. And like I said, if that happens, listen, wrap the league up because that title race is going to be absolutely insane. One for the history books if that happens. If. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it will. What does that mean for Man United? Well, my laugh probably tells it all. Let's not even talk about it. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. If you made it till the end of this video, go in the comment section and type in summer of intent. Yeah, summer of intent with like a... Nah, I wasn't going to say the emoji because some people might not like it. But anyway, summer of intent with a fire emoji in the comments. That's how I know you made it till the end. Got a little surprise for you, but you're going to have to bear with me until Friday, right? Bear with me till Friday, all right? You guys take care. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. It's Road to 20K, closing it on 17, and I will see you very soon. Peace.